Hi everybody, welcome to Exploring Food with Smitty. What I'm getting ready to make right now is bread pudding. I always have loved bread pudding, and my mom always made it different. You know how most people just layer the bread into the container and then they pour the milk over it? She always used to make hers more of like a custard. So I'm going to get my things together and I'll be right back. Okay, let's get started. So what I've been doing is I've been letting my bread soak in the milk, and because I like for it to be more custardy, I usually blend my bread up so that it's mashed, and when you eat it, it's not going to be like eating, it's going to be like eating bread pudding, but it's going to be a difference. So like I said, this is the way my mom's always made it. Smash the bread, and you still get the same bread pudding taste. I've used old bread, or if you have new bread, a lot of people use brioche or French bread, but it just all depends on what you want to use. So I've mashed all my bread up here, get it all crunched and ready to go. So, what I'm going to add to this is my sugar. And I'm only putting a cup of sugar in it because I'm going to make a bourbon pecan sauce to go on top, and that's going to be sweet enough. So I don't want too much in there. So, that's all good and mashed. Get a spoon. Okay. Now usually when I make bread pudding, I don't use a recipe, but I'm scaling this so that I can have a recipe so that if you want to make it. So this is 4 eggs, and I'm just going to beat them. And I'm going to pour my 4 eggs into my batter. And to that, I'm going to add a cup of sugar, a stick of melted butter, vanilla, which is usually about, I usually add about a tablespoon, some cinnamon, just a couple of shakes. If you're measuring it out, I would say about a teaspoon. Okay. And then I'm just going to take this and mix it. Now I have my milk setting out because just in case I needed it to add more milk, I'd have it there. But this looks like about the right consistency. And what you do is you get this all mixed really good, and you bake it on 350 until you can insert a knife in and it comes out with nothing on it. Same way you would do if you were making the cake. So let me get this beat up, and then I'll come back when we're ready to pour it into the pan. Okay, so let's get back to this. What I did is I went ahead and took out a whisk, and I just whisked it together. You can use a whisk, you can beat it with a mixer, whichever way you want to do it. So, what I'm going to do is spray my baking dish, which this doesn't look like it's going to be big enough, but if not, I'll just make 2 dishes. I'm going to pour it in, like so. I don't want to overfill it. So what I'll do is make a smaller pan. And then what I'm going to do is bake this in the oven at 350 degrees. I would say for about 45 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be back when it's done. Took the bread pudding out, and this is what it's looking like. I think I put a little bit too much, but it's nice and firm. And what I'm going to get ready to do right now is to make the caramel sauce for it. So let me get my stuff together. Okay, so for my caramel sauce, I'm going to use a cup of sugar. And to that, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of water. And I'm going to stir it so that it all mixes, like so. And I'm just going to let it cook and stay like this until it gets a beautiful caramel color. So then that means that all of that sugar has melted and we can get ready to put it on our pie. So we'll be back. As you can see, the sugar is starting to liquefy, and you just let it boil like that until it gets a caramel brown. So we're just going to let it boil and we'll be back. Okay, so at this point you can see that it's starting to get that beautiful caramel color. So to this, I'm going to add butter. And this is like 2 tablespoons of butter. Like so. And I'm going to stir that around a little. And you have to be careful when you're pouring stuff in because this will frizz up. You don't want it to do that, so I've turned down my fire lower than I had it. So what I'm going to do is set this over here. I'm trying to keep an eye on my camera because for some reason it keeps turning off. Perfect. I'm going to let this cook down a little more. Cook off that rum flavor. Okay, so I'm going to cook this down a little more, and I'll be back when we get ready to put it on top of the bread pudding. Okay, so my rum sauce is ready, and I am going to spoon it over my bread pudding, just like so. And it is so good because the sauce melts down into the pudding, and it makes for a delicious taste. I think I'm going to have enough left to put on the side, so if you want to sprinkle more over. There we go. So what I'm going to do with the rest of this is save it. So if anyone wants